Patrick Mahomes speaking with reporters on Wednesday about the issues with the Chiefs' defense, which is currently giving up, on average, 7.1 yards per play, which would be a record if it continues through the team's next 12 games. And, I spoke to Mahomes after they beat the Eagles, and he addressed the importance of being patient on offense. The defenses are trying to take away the huge play, so they have to run the ball, and they have to have a controlled passing game. And frankly, Chris, I see some overlap here in the motivation. I think it's important to take what the defense gives you and have sustained drives and to not try to have a 60-yard touchdown to cap every effort to get to the end zone. It's also giving your defense a break, too.
Yeah, sure.
It's giving your defense time to regroup. It's giving them time to rest. It's keeping them off the field. It's keeping them fresh for the fourth quarter. So that's all the more reason for the offense in Kansas City, even though it's got Patrick Mahomes, to become more deliberate and not try to get up and down the field like a basketball team running a fast break.
Yeah, yes, 100%. And, but the thing is, Mike, they're kind of doing that, They're not getting a lot of the big plays. They are, and I think that's what's concerning. I mean, you kind of look at their drive charts for a lot of games, and it is 10 plays, 80 yards. They just haven't been able to consistently do it time after time after time, which is what they need to do, unfortunately, right now with the way teams are playing them. But, the defense, there's just there's no silver lining right now. There's nothing to say. I mean, the first thing is, Mike, there's nobody that can make an individual play on the defense. There's nobody. Chris Jones is the only blue chip player they got. The one thing I've been saying, at least for the last week or so, is let's put him back at defensive tackle. I was all in favor of the defensive end move, but, he can be taken out of the game a little bit more at that position. He was way more disruptive at D tackle. I think they got to put him back there. He's in the middle of the scrum there. Basically can affect every play from that position. He's over here on this defense end. Teams can run away. It's easier to find ways to protect or slide protection that way. So I would say that's the first thing they got to do. But after that, Mike, everything's underwhelming. I mean, nobody can get pressure on the quarterback. The linebackers aren't playing that well. Nobody can cover that well. Honey Badger's not the same guy that he used to be. We see Daniel Sorensen. He's letting up plays on a weekly basis. So there's issues across the board, let alone a lot of these guys are kind of new and young to the defense as well. When you really go through it, you go, man, they got some new linebackers. They got some new defensive linemen. Jerron Reed hasn't come through yet. Mike Hughes is playing solid but not great. DeAndre Baker, it's I mean, and so they got nothing there right now to kind of build on. And I think that's the scary thing right now. And, Patrick Mahomes can say whatever he wants that he doesn't feel the pressure, but there's pressure. Because right now, it's like, forget 30 every game. You're probably going to have to score high 30s, maybe 40 when you play good teams. And that's what's scary about, the Chiefs and where they're at as a football team.
How do you think this happened?
I do think maybe the newness of some of the players, they're learning. Spagnuolo's system is creative. They do a lot of different things. So I think they're not quite executing and being able to, all get on the same page. Mike, there's so many plays that I watch on film where they're talking still and the ball's being snapped. Little details are being messed up, certainly. And, of course, because they are the Kansas City Chiefs and they've been kings of the NFL basically for the last 3 or 4 years, teams have really studied them on both sides of the ball. Even with them not having a top-notch defense, the last 2 years, their defense has been a pain in the butt under Spagnuolo. Pain in the butt. And I think people have gotten used to some of their disguises and some of the trickeration they have on that side of the ball. And that would be my assessment, Mike. I don't have a real answer for you, but hopefully that gave some insight there.
I don't want to spin this too far ahead, but there is something to keep an eye on if the defense continues to be a liability, if they don't spend money well, if they don't complement Patrick Mahomes with the kinds of players that the contract he signed is aimed at allowing them to compile and to maintain, you're going to have a problem at some point with Patrick Mahomes. You're going to be in a Russell Wilson situation with Patrick Mahomes if you don't keep a good team around.
Yeah, it'd be worse. Yeah,
you're going to have a guy who, even though he signed for 11 more years, including this one, you're going to have a guy who gets unhappy because he's going to say, hey, you know what? I could have pushed for $50 million a year or more. I had all the leverage I could have had. He's more leverage then than he would have now if he was coming up for a contract, frankly. And I deliberately took less, and you guys haven't held up your end of the bargain. So
I hear you there.
So it's look, Chiefs fans, we're not trying to give you more reasons to panic, but we all assumed the Chiefs were just going to be shortlist contenders indefinitely with Mahomes. But we're finding out very loudly and clearly that it's a lot more than one guy.
No,
we hear that all the time.
Yeah,
but it is a lot more than one guy. If your defense is complete and total crap, it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is.
No, it doesn't. It's hard. And and to your point, Mike, like the Russell Wilson comparison and all that. I mean, I hear you there because there'll be more public pressure around this one. Blind people know Patrick Mahomes is the man, and he's amazing, and he's definitely one of the best players in football. But hey, also, he doesn't get like a total escape either. He hasn't been playing his best either. I do think the situation has affected him a little bit. I do think last year and the fact that how he wasn't protected for the last 10 weeks of the year has affected him a little bit. We've seen it kind of correct itself here as of late, but man, not given the first read, and these are things I talk about on my podcast, not given the first read the proper look. He's open. I don't know why you're on number 2 or number 3. Of course, this play right here, you're watching the no-look pass, not necessary. Leaving the pocket when you go, the pocket's perfect, like right there. Where were you going, right? I mean, look at if you could rewind that play right there, I'd love to show that one more time. There's just so much of this. Let it go. Yeah, that's okay. But pay attention to Mahomes here. Where's he going? It's perfection. Step up in the pocket, throw a laser somewhere. There's just a little too much of that from him too, so he's not helping the situation out. And, man, there's a lot of pressure on that offense. There really is. Mike, that's why I say, I don't have any hope for the defense to really correct itself a whole lot this year. They're going to have to win with offense. And you heard me say yesterday, Cleveland and OBJ and Baker Mayfield, that's over. I'd be looking for trade options going all in right now. Let's just get more weapons on offense and just go all in on that right now. And I don't know what their salary cap situation is, or they could figure it out. But I'd try to figure something out to get one more guy because it is too much just Tyreek and Kelsey too. It's just those two. McCole Hardman's good, but he's not your number 2 receiver. He's a guy you want to be like your number 3 or 4 gadget type receiver, and that's hurt them as well. And that's probably why they signed Josh Gordon, but. Yeah, there's issues on the Chiefs right now. I'm not panicked, but I'm panicked, if that makes any sense.
Josh Gordon had one catch for 11 yards.
Right, remember it?
Sunday
he was
night,
running to the right. He kind of threw it up in the middle of the field, and he went up and got it.
It's going to take some time for him to get to where he needs to be. I'm fascinated by the prospect of Odell Beckham Jr. becoming Kansas City Chief.
The Cleveland thing is weird.
We're not that long away from the trade deadline. And I think, we've talked about this. I've written about it. I think the Browns should be looking for a suitor. I don't know that the Chiefs are the right one, though, because, as you said yesterday, you don't want to make a team in the conference better, a team that you're trying to show that you can beat, unless you think, you know what, we know this guy well enough to know what he potentially can do from the inside, whether he intends to do it or not. Just his mere presence can create issues, as it did for the Browns. Let's go ahead. Let's treat it like a Trojan horse. Yeah, here, take Odell Beckham Jr., and maybe that helps the Browns beat the Chiefs in a roundabout way. I'm speculating there, but when you look at the fact that Beckham has not worked, and if anything, it's dragged down Baker Mayfield at times, maybe there is an argument to be made that the Browns would look at trading him to the Chiefs and say, that may not be a bad thing for us.
Well, I would say, listen, they would have won the game last week if Baker was looking at Odell. I mean, I showed a play on my podcast yesterday. I know the play. I know how to read it. I mean, it was a 3rd and 1 throw, and he threw it to Kareem Hunt out in the flat, and it's Odell Beckham Jr. with 45 seconds left, and he's gone. It's a touchdown if he reads the play the right way. It is quarters coverage. It's an alert for this route. I know that offense enough. Here it is. It's hard to tell. But if you could back that up just again a little bit to show it, I mean, look, there's the safety there. He's worried about Njoku. You see the safety inside the 0 about the 48-yard line, Mike, right? You see him. He squats on Njoku. 43 Davis stays outside, and he can't run with Odell Beckham Jr., and he's gone. It's game over if he just throws it and holds the ball. Baker Mayfield, for some reason, has no pressure and decides to just throw to the short guy. I know it's 3rd and 1, but – man, they gave an opportunity to win that game, and there was a few other opportunities in the game where I go, I don't know. I know this play. I know the read, and Baker doesn't want to throw to the guy. I don't understand it. And I thought maybe they would find the chemistry. You know, okay, he got traded there. Took a little time. Oh, we got injured. But, I mean, from what I've seen the last 3 games, I mean, Odell's open a lot. And he's the first read, and it doesn't go to him, and it's just weird to me. So I don't know what the hell's going on there.
My theory is this, educated guess based upon following this stuff every day for 20 years.
Right.
I think some stuff went down between Mayfield and Beckham in 2019 that we don't know about, and the scars are still there. Yeah. That's what I think.
Hey, listen,
because I don't think those two were ever going to click. And I think in 2019, when Mayfield's trying to help that team ascend and Freddie Kitchens is the head coach, and it's this constant narrative publicly.
Yeah, right.
We got to get him the ball. We got to get him the ball. I got to get the ball. And Beckham, in his mind, thinks me getting the ball equals winning. So if I'm not getting the ball and we're not winning because I'm not getting the ball. And it just kind of became this thing. Look, there's plenty of stuff that teams manage to keep from the media and the fans. I would guess something happened between Beckham. I'm not saying they got into a fight or anything like that.
You. Right.
I'm just saying something snapped. There was a bridge that was crossed and blown up between the two guys, and I think they're having a hard time rebuilding it, which may mean they got to choose one or the other, and between the two, they're going to choose Baker Mayfield.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.